Hey, Rob here for Quadratec.com. Today I'm out here at Roush Creek Off-Road Park. This awesome Jeep behind me, Grappler JK, belongs to a friend of ours, Jeff. Jeff's here hanging out with us today.
Hey, good to see you.
You too. Now, we've been friends for a little while. We've hung out. We've done some wheeling out in Moab at Easter Jeep Safari. We're back here on the East Coast at Roush Creek Off-Road Park today, and we thought we'd take the time to show you guys just what goes into and what built up Grappler JK here. Now, Jeff, how'd you get started on this project, man? Well,
I'm a staff sergeant in the United States Army. I'm a paratrooper down at Fort Benning, Georgia.
Yep.
Also the COO of Unofficial Use Only with Greg Henderson.
Yep.
Got back from my last deployment in 2014 and picked this up as an AEV Jeep.
Okay.
Proceeded to go and take all the AEV stuff off and started building it up. And ended up getting linked up with the RIPP supercharger guys out of Staten Island.
Yep.
And it just kind of built up from there.
Yeah, it's really kind of taken on a life of its own here and out on the internet, out on social media. I mean, lots of guys can find you out on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. So you mentioned you're tied in with RIPP. I mean, it's no secret here. You got it plastered all the way down the side and through the grill. We're not hiding it.
No. So this is actually a brand new product that's coming out with RIPP superchargers this year. This is the RIPP XL kit. It's a new upgrade for them. Yep. And I can't give out official numbers, but I can tell you that there's not a 5.6 or a 6.4 Hemi around that's going to give me too much problem on or off the trails. So
that's awesome.
The RIPP guys are awesome. You know, the great thing about this Jeep is it's mine. Yeah. And I can put anything on it I want, or in it, or anything else. Yeah. And I put that RIPP supercharger on there along with every single item that's on this Jeep because to me it's not only a great product, but the people that back it are just awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. So why don't we start? I mean, we talked a little bit about the RIPP, and why don't we just kind of work our way around the Jeep?
Awesome.
And let everybody know, you know, about the different products that are on here, everything from, you know, tire size, lift. We can start right at the front. I mean, we mentioned the supercharger. How about this hood that's on here?
So Total Innovations, super great guys. They build custom hoods, got a hold of them, had it brought out, custom painted and everything. Yeah. It's a great hood. A lot of heat reduction, and it's, you know, it's got a nice custom look, and been real happy with it.
That's awesome. And then we can kind of work our way right down the front of the Jeep here.
Sure. Talon 9.5 super winch, best winches around. I've pushed the limits of this thing the entire way to the Jeep out in Moab. Yeah. Going up escalator, pulled this Jeep at about 6,800 pounds. Yeah. Dead weight up with no problem. The super winch guys are awesome. Of course, all my closed system winching with factor 55. The guys are awesome. I get great airflow because all of my armor is GenRight armor. Yeah. Tony Pellegrino and all the guys over there. I've got GenRight aluminum all the way around. I love it. Backed by the GenRight steel rash guards for those spots that you end up beating up on the trail. But I saved over the steel armor I had before almost 900 pounds.
That's a lot of weight.
And it makes a huge difference, especially in places like Moab, Rubicon Trail, where you're off camber, or you're doing a lot of crazy stuff. Right. It's just a huge difference.
Yeah. And then, you know, having the winch set down like that in the bumper is great, like you mentioned, for airflow, especially with the supercharger on there. And it's got this, you know, just a nice look to it. Everything's nice and compact and
absolutely, and
fits well. And I mean, it's kind of hard to miss these headlights you got up here.
Yeah. Tom and Misty, Rob, the guys out at HID Projectors, they make a great light. I've done mine a little bit custom in that I can change both colors independently with some Bluetooth stuff, but great lights. The projectors are bright, and they're made here in Buffalo. They're good people and a good product.
Nice. And going on, you know, sticking with the lighting theme, you know, you've got some cubes, a little light bar up top, and then a couple on the front. Who makes all the lights on here?
Yeah, all my lighting on the Jeep is Bulldog lighting. Dylan and Nico and the guys at Bulldog, they're great people. It's a great light. Had other lights on there before, switched up to these, and I've been unbelievably impressed with how bright they are on and off the road. Yeah. The A-pillar mounts are actually on a Genesis off-road mount. Genesis does my dual battery kit. Okay. Shane over at Genesis, they make amazing products. He is a genius with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they happen to make these A-pillar, a dual mount that allows me to actually rotate and use those A-pillar mount lights to do their job and actually shine off to the sides.
Yeah, if you look at them, you've got 2 of them pointed forward, you got 2 of them off to the side, and then you combine with the bumper mounted lights if you're doing any kind of night wheel, and you can really light up that trail around you and see what you're doing.
Plenty of lights without having to put a huge light bar on.
Yeah, yeah, you know what, it looks great. You've got such a big stance already, and then kind of keeps it nice and you know, low center of gravity looking without the light bar on top of the windshield. So we can go ahead and move around. Like you mentioned, you know, you got the GenRight armor on here, the bumper, the rockers, the fenders, and then, I mean, we're not hiding suspension or shocks here. What do you got running for suspension?
So Jeremy Pierick and the guys up at Rockcrawler, this is their 5.5 inch trail gunner kit. You know, I looked around and had again, you know, all the options in the world.
Yep.
And everybody pointed me towards Jeremy and the guys at Rockcrawler. I gave them a call, said, hey, look, what do you think? This is what I want to do. I want a great ride on the road. I want to be able to do anything I want off the road. What do you got? Yeah. And he said, look, trail gunner kit's the way to go. Give it a try. Yeah. And I've been unbelievably pleased with it. It's attached to a couple of Dynatrac axles, Pro Rock 80 in the rear, Pro Rock 60 up front. RCV shafts, and it's a great kit. Yeah, yeah, it really gives you that, you know, capability to, like you mentioned, really head off road and tackle anything anything you want, and then it still has some good on-road manners too, to, you know, take this thing out to the mall, if you will. Yeah, there's you know, any curbs, I'm fairly safe. So you mentioned the axles. You got the 80 in the back, the 60 in the front. What gears are you running in this? So I'm running 513 gears in this. And with the RIPP supercharger, it's just about perfect for me. Cool. I'd considered originally going 538s, but the 513 just worked out perfect. Yeah. E-lockers, air lockers? ARB, air lockers. I'm running the compressor under the hood, which I use for the air, for the lockers. Right. And of course the power tank in the back, which runs everything else. My power tools, I air up, air down. You can see inside the wheels, the monster valves. So I can go down, you know, a pound a second. Yeah. When I'm airing down. Had the chance when we were back at base camp to air down, and, you know, we ended up with 5 guys around us going, wow, why is that air coming out so fast? Yeah. Those power tank monster valves are pretty awesome. Yeah, that's awesome, especially when you're running a big tire like this. What size tires do you have on here? So these are 42-inch Interco IROX. It's a great tire off-road. Can get a little bit noisy on road. I went with the bias tires. Yeah. I love them. They really are a great tire. Been really pleased with them. Yeah, it's about finding a balance, but I think you're leaning a little more towards off-road capability, which, you know, it's a fine trade-off. Yeah. And what kind of wheels do you have these tires mounted on? ATX slabs, 17-inch ATX slabs. Yep. Great wheel. I've beat them to death. This is the 2nd or 3rd set of rings I've put on, and not because the rings gave out. I've never busted a single bolt on them. Yeah. But you know, with 16 events with RIPP superchargers and unofficial use only throughout the year, they get pretty beat up, as you can see. Yeah, they get beat up. Nice that ATX slab's a nice true bead lock, so you can air way down and you know, really tackle stuff off road. Right now I'm at 8 pounds. I run on the road with about 23 pounds. Okay. And it's you know, I've never lost a bead with these wheels ever. Fantastic. So we can go ahead and move right on down to the side of the Jeep. That's the first thing I notice here is you're a 4-door and you're missing something here. So if you can convince Tony Pellegrino to talk to you, he'll tell you that he's got about 100 different products still coming out for the JK. Yeah. And they keep coming out with new awesome stuff. GenRight, these guys are awesome. They make a kit. They try and make everything easy for that builder at your house, or if you're going to a shop, whatever. Right. B-pillar chop. A lot of people ask, well, hey, you know, when you put your full doors back on, doesn't it get rain in there and everything else? Right. Well, no. The great thing about the kit is it's actually replaceable. So B-pillar comes back here, and bolts in right here, and it's completely like it's stock.
Right.
So B-pillar chop, and of course with the GenRight cage. Love this cage as a dad, taking my kids out, taking my friends out.
Right.
You know, I want the ultimate in protection, and you can see the X bar in the back and the V bar up front here, both optional.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to take away some of that leg room. But again, I wanted the ultimate in protection, and the GenRight cage was absolutely that for me.
Right. So what do we got for half doors on here?
So JCR aluminum half doors, great doors. All the guys up at JCR, again, really good people.
Yeah.
Love the fact that it's got an armrest on it, and they're just solid, lightweight trail doors.
Yeah, yeah, they look great. And when you throw that pillar back on, and you need to, you know, close it up for rain or bad weather or whatever, you can throw the upper halves back on there.
Absolutely.
And changed out the seats inside too.
Change out the seats. I'm not a little fella, so went with the Corbeau LG1 wides. Big question we get with the LG1 wides is, will they fit in a JK? They will.
Yep.
LG1 wides in the front and the rear. Now, the rear's a little tricky with Corbeau because they don't make a bracket for rear bucket seats.
Right.
And so we ended up using Mastercraft seat brackets, and then putting some sheet metal over it, doing some custom work.
Sure.
And this is what we ended up with. I've been unbelievably pleased. It's you know, having the bucket seats is great. Having the 4-point harnesses for all my passengers.
Yeah.
Again, unbelievably safe. I feel good as a driver to be able to do the dumb things I do.
Yeah. Yeah. The harnesses are gonna keep everybody in the seat where they're supposed to be. You were telling me a little bit earlier, you like to do some work with Wounded Warrior.
Yeah, so originally I was just planning on keeping the stock seats, and again, I'm still active duty military. A lot of my buddies are. We go off, we do wheeling, we do some volunteer work with buddies that are Wounded Warriors, amputees.
Right.
And we were having some issues with stock seat belts, and some of the guys that you know, were missing a limb.
Sure.
And I just wanted a way to make it more comfortable for everyone.
Yep.
And so, as you can see, the rear seats are up a little bit. Gives a better viewing angle for everyone.
Yeah.
And again, these 4-point harnesses keep everybody safe and keep them tucked in.
Got that great stadium seating in here. Everyone gets a great view out,
Absolutely.
out the front. And now just kind of working our way through the interior, that dash, it's got that big Alpine unit up there.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts of this Jeep is the Alpine restyle.
Yeah.
So Alpine just came out with the X209, which is a weatherproof kit for the Jeep. And I mean, we're going to get some rain today. We're going to get some rain tomorrow.
Right.
X209, absolutely no fear that I'm going to have any issues, you know, getting it a little bit wet, having a little bit of rain get on it.
Yeah.
The sound is great. It has the ability to control, you know, lights or different functions. It's really just, it integrates with the Jeep ODB2 system so well.
Yeah.
It's just it's an unbelievable head unit.
Yeah, we've had some time to mess around with it, and you know, the capability of that thing is awesome. I mean, combined with the 9-inch screen you have on it, and you know, it looks like it's meant to be there. It doesn't look like you're kind of trying to stuff it into the dash. It looks, you know, like it was meant to be there from the factory. Alpine did a great job on it.
I'm an Apple guy. It works great with Apple.
Yeah.
It's got Android version, or it works great with Android. I mean, it's just, it was a really well thought out unit.
Yeah. I notice you've got a radio tucked up on the bar in the corner of the windshield there, and you got another little monitor. What do you got mounted up there?
So I started originally with John and Josh and the guys at S-Pod. Again, I know I keep saying this, but you couldn't ask for nicer guys in this industry. And I originally had the original S-Pod set up.
Yep.
They went to the digital setup, and I switched over last year at Jeep Beach. And John and Josh actually did the install for me inside the RIPP booth. And the digital setup is so great. I can put it anywhere I want on any of the ball mounts. They now have another, their HD setup. And as I swap over to a second S-Pod, I'm going to add that as well. Below it there is the rugged radio. It's a race radio that I use. Was actually out with Ian Johnson from Extreme Off-Road doing some wheeling. I was like, hey, what is that little blue radio you got going on there? He says, oh, listen. And showed me some of the features of his kit that he had, and said, man, I've got to get a couple of these.
Yeah.
Had a chance to use them in Moab. Have sort of zigzagged across the country using them.
Yeah.
And they're unbelievable radios. They really are. And they have waterproof versions as well. And I've got one of those in the Bartac bag in there.
Cool. That's awesome. Anything else you want to point out inside? You mentioned Bartac. You got some grab handles and stuff to make it easier for your passengers to get in and out.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, especially with kids, having grab handles just about everywhere.
Yeah.
The Bartac guys are great. I mean, nothing but quality with all their products. It's great to have them on there. It gives the kids an opportunity to grab onto just about anything in here.
Yeah.
You can see the Carolina Metal Masters grab handle up front that Brian and Jill and all the guys over there at Carolina Metal Masters.
Yeah.
That was I think this was one of the very first mods I ever did to my Jeep.
Yeah.
So it has a nice place in my heart.
Nice little personal touch.
Absolutely.
So one of the first things you notice when you get behind here is Grappler JK on the tailgate, and this is no stock tailgate. So
this tailgate was actually just released by Poison Spider. I had one of the first in the country that they handed over to Greg Henderson at Unofficial Use Only, and he did some customization for me, along with a pretty amazing paint job from a shop called Reds up in outside of Flint, Michigan, and they did all the paint matching.
Yeah.
GenRight armor that typically has hinges here.
Right.
And again, Unofficial Use Only, Greg Henderson, all the custom metal work. I mean, he's a lot of people know him. He's one of the premier guys out there doing these builds, doing these SEMA builds.
Yep.
And so everything was done. Poison Spider actually just released this last week, so I know it's available through, I'm sure, through Quadratec.
Yep. Without the Grappler JK logo.
Without the Grappler JK.
And then you mentioned earlier the power tanks. You have that mounted up there.
I do. You know, I know this is starting to sound like a broken record, but Steve out at Power Tank, you couldn't ask for a better guy.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me about the power tank. Like, well, you've got onboard air. Why do you have a power tank? Well, by the time my buddies that have onboard air get done with their first tire, I'm done with all four, and I've got 42-inch tires.
Yeah.
On the trail, we had a chance out in Moab this year to see me use a power tank to reseat two. I think they were 46-inch tires.
They were big, yeah.
So, you know, I can run air tools with it. It's an amazing product, and I'm really glad to have it on my Jeep. Yeah,
and it's nice. It's, you know, self-sufficient. It's up there, and you know, if any kind of issue, it's ready to go. It's mobile, so I can help my buddies out. Yeah. It's just it's a great tool to have with you. That's awesome. And then you also have a fridge back here. I do. Dometic fridge. This is their CFX 35. Fits perfect in the back of a JK. It's on a slide-out tray. I can fit about 40 Rockstar in the back of this thing, so it keeps me energized on the trail, and it's pretty awesome. I believe it goes down to -30 degrees, so we can have ice cream or a Choco Taco out in Moab at the middle of Easter Jeep Safari. I tell you, man, there's nothing better than a hot day in the desert with a Choco Taco. So true. So if people want to find out more about Grappler JK, where can they find you? Sure. No, I'm super easy to find on Instagram, Grappler JK. Again, try and answer every question that's sent to me, comments, things like that. I'm more than happy to talk to people about anything from lift to tire size to Dometic fridge. So, and then you have a complete show schedule where you go with RIPP. I do. 16 to 18 shows around the country, everything from Easter Jeep to Jeep Beach to you know, any of the events that we go to. You can come up to the booth, see my Jeep. Or, you know, send me a message. I'm easy to find. Right, I was going to say, if anyone ever is wondering, you know, where you're going to be next, if they hit up your Instagram, you know, you make plenty of posts up there about where you're going to be next and what's coming up. So, well, Jeff, thanks so much for taking some time out of your day today. You bet. Of course, if you want to find out more about Grappler JK, you can always leave us a comment in the comment section below. If you have some more questions about anything on the Jeep, we can try to answer for you. We can always refer back to Jeff here, who can definitely give us the answer. You want to make sure you hit that subscribe button so you'll be the first to catch all the latest from us, including walk-around videos, product reviews, how-to videos, and more. What do you say we go hit some of the trails while we're out here today? Sounds good to me. Awesome. Till next time, I'm Rob. I'll see you guys out on the trail.